So good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Indiana. If you've come from out of town, thank you for being here. We're so glad you're here. I'm Sherene Hess. I'm one of the 3 county commissioners here in Indiana County, and we're just so pleased that you're here today, where you're going to hear about the outcomes of the work of the Indiana County Sustainable Economic Development Task Force. Before we start our program, I would like to ask my fellow Commissioner Rod Ruddock to lead us today in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then he'll make some remarks. So, Commissioner Ruddock?
I just need to tell you, when Sherene and I were talking a week or so ago about today, I said, make sure you start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I said, this is an all-American group, and there's nothing better than this group here, and so let's do it right for America today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. I want to as well welcome you here this morning. I see so many familiar faces here, and many of you are in many different kind of organizational efforts and make it happen for Indiana County. I got to tell you, we had a great day yesterday that you've seen in the paper, and I'm not going to say anything more about it because Byron Stauffer is here. I think he's going to be introducing one of the speakers here today. And I'm going to give him the opportunity to talk a bit about what we did yesterday in Indiana County to create, I think, an enormous growth pattern for our residents of Indiana County who are looking for work, who might be displaced or unemployed. When you have a business coming in that starts out with 225 openings, that's a good start. So we'll go from there. I also want to tell you how impressed I am with this group. The thoroughness and commitment that you have made. I honestly have read the materials that have come out of Sherene's office. And by the way, before we get to the final steps on your agenda today, at the very end, it says, and Sherene's doing this at the end of the day. I just want to warn you and advise you, as you well know, if she asks for you to sign up, you know what you're in for. So I'll do that in advance. But this has really been a great steering committee, focal group committee. I know you've done a lot of great work. It seems as if we just kicked this off Summit 1, but it's been over a year ago. Well, as we all get older, we know how time flies. And I know that you have enjoyed the committee engagement. You have had, more importantly, I think, the ability to secure community input and to attend to your mission statement. And that really is the critical piece here that we need to focus on. What are we trying to do? And we are so blessed to have you because you are the stewards of long-term sustainability. And that goes well beyond the environmental practices we often just label to be the sustainment piece of our government. That's not it at all. There's so much more engaged, and you know that now, and I'm anxious to hear some of your thoughts today. As a result of your effort, through time, Indiana County will prosper and will seek cost savings in applying sustainable practices that are all influenced by your creative talents, your ideas, and your personal passions. And each one of you has a personal passion in here. I know that. I'm anxious to hear of your findings and what the suggested proposals might bring as we look at the areas of your focal consideration. I know those were increased, I think, as you started the process just a bit. Specifically, I am interested in our county's vulnerable water and stormwater systems. I need to hear a little bit what your thoughts are on how we can improve that kind of image that we currently have. There are areas of Indiana County that seem to be distressed because of just the inability to live without water. And I don't think that's correct. I think we need to do something. The stormwater management plan is well underway. We are working on a plan right now. Act 167, we have a committee that started that discussion. We'll get Sherene engaged when she's a little bit off this committee piece. The purpose of that is to carry the message to all parts of Indiana County. And so we're going to work on that in the time being, and maybe there's some things we can do in the interim. The other thing I want to just tell you today, and I think you know this, but you need to hear it from me. This has been put on the public forum by the commissioners of Indiana County. But this is not really the commissioners of Indiana County. This is Sherene Hess. She has been a phenomenal leader in this particular project. I can tell you she has spent countless hours at home, in the office, and we try not to bother her with when we know she's engaged. But she has been truly an inspirational leader, a passionate leader, and I want to personally and professionally thank her for all her effort and what she does for Indiana County. And on that, I'm just going to say thank you for being here today. Thank you, Sherene. We are truly Indiana County proud. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for those kind words, Rod, and it's been a wonderful experience to work with such fellow commissioners who are cooperative, much more than just cooperative. We are a team and we're unified, and it's a terrific experience. I'd like to invite Chairman Baker to the podium to say a few words too. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's been a great leader too, and so welcome.
Thank you, Sherene. Good morning, everyone. It is really an honor and a pleasure to have been asked to come out and to provide some brief words of welcome to the Indiana County Sustainable Economic Development Summit 2. The only problem with that is by the time you say Indiana County Sustainable Economic Development Summit 2, you're already out of time. But I really appreciate being able to come out here today. The task force is made up of individuals from nearly every segment of society in the county, and today it will present to you its final report. But I sincerely hope that none of us will confuse the final part of that statement with any thought that the work is done. In fact, the work is just beginning, and the groundwork and the blueprint that's been established under their collective efforts will help to escort us all into the future and will help define the look and the feel and the functionality of the county for many years to come. The Sustainable Economic Development Task Force was established nearly 18 months ago by the Board of Commissioners at the request and under the direction of my colleague, Sherene Hess, as you know. And it enjoys the partnerships of the Evergreen Conservancy, the Center for Community Growth and Legal Women Voters of Indiana County, and also works very closely in alignment with the Borough of Indiana and IUP, the Conservation District, and the Center for Economic Operations, which we know as the CEO. And for many of you already know what the CEO is, but for those of you who don't, I'll just briefly tell you that it is an organization. It was established back in the 90s by the commissioners, and it's made up of the Chamber of Commerce, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, the commissioners, the Indiana County Development Corporation, and our outstanding Indiana County Tourist Bureau, who I always like to give a plug for because they're among my favorite people. This task force that you're going to be hearing from today is comprised of a steering committee which carefully established and crafted its mission and vision, and which introduced itself to the public on September the 27th of 2017, which is 1 year and 1 day ago today. And not surprisingly, I will tell you there was no shortage of interest from the people in the county. The steering committee quickly went to work and established 4 distinct yet linked focus groups, each charged with the task of coming up with forward-looking ideas for building the economic and environmental resiliency that Indiana County will need to meet the challenges of the future. And as Rod alluded to just a little while ago, if you've been following the local news here in Indiana County in the past 24 hours, you will know that the future is now. Yesterday, I feel like opportunity came knocking for Indiana County, and guess what? We were home and we answered the door. And I'm so proud of Byron Stauffer and all of those folks who have helped to make this possible. We really look forward to what's going to happen there. Briefly, 4 focus groups, each with a specific charge, and you'll hear from them today. Sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, sustainable building construction, environmental restoration and stewardship. Today you're going to gain the insight from the final report and recommendations of the task force, and the report that those recommendations will be presented to the commissioners for consideration as soon as it's fully adopted. Have you fully adopted it yet, or are you going to put a final coat of wax on it? What do you have to do?
That sort of remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. Okay. Well, we look forward to getting it. I've had an opportunity to look at it briefly, but it looks great. So before I conclude my brief remarks, I only want to just tell you that I thank all of you for coming out here today to participate, but I want to extend those thanks to all of those of you who've worked so diligently over these past many months to make this happen. And in specific, I want to thank Commissioner Sherene Hess for her outstanding leadership of this task force, and to commend her for taking on the personal responsibility of creating and sustaining not just a group or a committee, but a team of visionaries that have worked very hard over these past months. It's not easy to corral that many creative minds and that much intellectual capital in one place at one time and keep them on task and on point, but when you do, and you have, the results can be profound and they can be beautiful. So that's what you're going to hear about today. So thank you again, Sherene, for your leadership, your hard work. Let me just wrap it up by saying again, welcome to all of you. I encourage you to sit back, relax, get well caffeinated so that you don't get too relaxed. Wouldn't want that to happen, but I want you to get ready to take a step into the future of Indiana County. And that's what we're going to do here today, so buckle up. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate all those wonderful remarks, but really, this is a team effort, and it was not my original idea. It was the original idea of several caring individuals, ordinary citizens, who said, you know, we want to do something. We want to have a voice in how the future of our community looks. And so I want to give credit to those folks. And the founding members were a couple of the organizations that Commissioner Baker mentioned, but we coalesced into an organization of a task force that is so diversified. We have the business community, we have the civic groups, we have the educational groups, we have the workforce development folks, we have, it's about as diverse as you can get, and that's something we're all extremely proud of. And I would like to, I don't want to name all the names, but if you were on the task force, I would like if you would please indulge me and stand up so that everyone can recognize you and give you the acknowledgement that you so deserve. So please stand. Thank you. Thank you. This is a day to celebrate economic development. And and I want to say, there were a lot of people that wanted to be on the task force and just for a variety of reasons could not. But they contributed in other ways throughout this process. So there was just so much contribution. I was humbled. And I was really honored to be the chair of such a fine organization. So it is a day to celebrate economic development in rural Indiana County, and as you heard, we had a wonderful announcement yesterday about some new business coming to town and jobs and what that's going to mean for us. That's one way to do economic development, and it's terrific. Another way that we're doing it with this task force is from the bottom up, ordinary citizens getting together, sharing ideas, talking about the future, talking about what they want to see in Indiana County. So you're going to hear from our panelists in a few moments, but before that, I'd like to give a few thank yous. I want to thank Cindy Rogers for being our conference manager today. She is one of the founding members of the task force, and she's also a founding member of the Evergreen Conservancy, which is an organization that has partnered with the business community and groups and organizations and educational institutions and has done so much for Indiana County. So thank you, Cindy. We appreciate your work very much. Also want to thank Jeff Rakes, who's our planning office deputy director. He's taking care of all the technical matters today and many, many other things, and his work has been invaluable. So thank you, Jeff Rakes. And a special thanks to Heather Haar, who is with us today from the League of Women Voters of Pennsylvania. You know, the League is all about citizen education, people becoming educated about what's going on in their community so they can press their local officials to do the right things. And the League brings their support from the Heinz Endowments and the Colcom Foundation, and that's great. That's outside money, investing in Indiana County, and that's what we need. And so we're very grateful for that. And finally, I want to say thank you to my fellow commissioners for all the support. They gave me a lot of nice, kind remarks, but I would say right back at you, we've all been working hard to make Indiana a great place to live, to work, to raise your families, to find your opportunities. So thank you all so much for that. So now you're going to hear about the final report and the recommendations. And our moderator, Ilario Molina, is going to gather our panelists up here, and he's going to tease out the relative points about workforce development and economic development and citizen education, those pillars of which our focus groups did their work, looking through the lens of those three pillars. So, panelists, would you please come on up and take a seat? And Ilario, Dr. Molina, please join us, and we'll get started with our panel. So thanks again, everyone, and welcome again to Indiana.